Today I'm gonna present briefly as much as I can the assessment that I have done for one of the athletes that I have in order to cover the assignment perspectives. To introduce briefly my athlete. So we have got an endurance athlete. He's around 33 years old. He used to play football before in a semi-professional level. He got injured and then he changed sport, and he went into more individualized sport, which is running 5K. So he became an endurance athlete, and for the past 3 years he started working a little more meticulously in terms of his conditioning, in terms of his program design, and working also with the coach. The name of the athlete is Nasser. Nasser is the name of the athlete. So Nasser, he had a few things about his history, injury history. He had MCL in his left knee, and this is that was actually one of the main reasons that he stopped also playing football at that semi-professional level here in Kuwait. As well as that, he had some overuse ankle injuries and some hip flexor tightness in the IT band and the TFL part of, again, in the left knee. So those are a few things about my endurance athlete. Regarding his need analysis, what we can say is that the VO2 max or the cardiorespiratory system is the most essential for his respective sport. In order to sustain a very good pace. Additionally, muscular endurance is another very essential aspect of his need analysis in order to design his plan, especially the lower body muscular endurance is really essential for his respective sport. Also we can say that the mobility and flexibility of his lower limbs and his upper torso and upper trunk is essential while he's like moving this cross pattern, and also in his hips, knee, and ankle, in order to do that cyclical motion in his legs. Last component of his need analysis that is really essential to consider. It is the stability and the balance, which related with the core. If the core is weak, it cannot produce as much force, cannot sustain proper balance while he's running an extended period of time. Considering that, the assessment that we consider related mostly with mobility. In order to find out any imbalance or asymmetries. So the one that we use here was the FMS, which is a functional movement screening test for mobility purposes to identify a restriction that could limit performance, and the modified Thomas test. This is the one that we use for mobility perspectives. Now, those are the two for mobility perspectives. Then another two that we use for muscular imbalances in order to detect and correct strength and in order to detect and correct strength differences was the Yada's hip extension and hip abduction test for the lower extremities. Those are the four tests that we use for the specific assignment in order to recognize potential areas for prone to injury or re-injury. Main focus in this specific athlete has been the ankle mobility, the hip flexibility, and the shoulder balance. Now, as long as we describe earlier, we say a few things about the test, the rationale behind those four assessments. Starting from FMS, has been to evaluate overall functional movement pattern and to identify compensation and asymmetries. This is related to the FMS. The reason that we use the second test, which was the modified Thomas test, as we described earlier, has been to assess the hip flexors length and flexibility, which is really essential for his sport. If there is a tightness or anything of that nature. And the last test, the last two tests related with the Yada's hip extension and the hip abduction test. The rationale behind has been to detect imbalance in abduction motion. Another important reason that we choose those specific tests have been to address past injuries and stiffnesses. The key focus areas has been in his assessment his left leg medial collateral ligament injury in the past, and his past he was injured in the knee. He sustained medial collateral MCL injury, medial collateral ligament injury, which took him a while to come back. Those tests, the main purpose, they had as a main purpose to see if those past injuries, the most crucial one was the MCL, affecting him while he was running. So ensuring proper hip extension and stability. Also like to check his left ankle overuse injury, because he was keep complaining about that left ankle injury, and he had like some pains. Enhancing ankle mobility and overall balances. To check and enhance ankle mobility and overall balances as well. Also, as we described earlier, the IT band, he got some IT band stiffness in the past. By checking with those tests, how it feels in that area, if there is any stiffness examined by the test, we can release later on in a later stage. So now we're gonna, as soon as we talk about the rationale, we're now gonna take each test one by one, and we're gonna talk about each test, describe each method individually. So taking first the functional movement screening test, or the FMS. The FMS consists of seven screening functional movement screens, with the main purpose to identify asymmetries, deficits that may predispose the athlete to re-injury. So this method, 7 functional movement score, on a scale of 0 to 3, with a maximum total score of 21. So there are like 7 tests. Each test you screen it for, you have got like 3 attempts. So at the end, as soon as you assess all of the 7, you must find if the athlete can hit 21. That means that he's far away from those asymmetries, or from those asymmetries. If he scored below 21, then that means that, like, let's say he scored below 14, that means that he's prone to injuries. The second test has been the modified Thomas test. The main purpose to assess the hip flexors length and flexibility. How that test takes place is like the athlete lies supine with one leg hanging off the table, but by pulling one of his legs, laying all the way back, and so you can check over there if there is any tightness in the opposite side of the leg that line on the table. The other 2 tests, the Yada's hip extension test, has as a main purpose to detect compensatory patterns in hip extensions. Again, the same concept with the modified test. Athlete lays prone and perform hip extension while examined by the coach or the health professional. In the hip extension. In the hip abduction, again, the purpose is to identify imbalances in the hip abduction. Athlete again lies on their side and abduct the hip while examined by the health professional. Now, after examining the specific athlete in all those, starting from the FMS, the main score, the main result, and the main result and the key findings of the specific athlete, total score has been 14. So I would like clarify exactly what that 14 mean. So in the FMS, in the deep squat, noted a restriction in his ankle while he was doing the first pattern of the overhead squat pattern. He couldn't easily do the first one because of the ankle mobility issue. So there were like restriction over there, and then as long as it was over there restriction, when he went to do the second in a line pattern or screwing test, which is inline lunge, there were compensation. There was some compensation. You can see it also in the video in his ankle while he was trying to go to the inline lunge. Again, from both of the sides, from the left and from the right side, while he was doing the inline lunge. Another restriction that we found was when he was doing the shoulder mobility test behind. So in his right shoulder, there was like some limitation detected. So those are the main findings from the FMS test. And then as soon as we finished with that, we went to the additional assessment, which was the modified Thomas test. In the modified Thomas test, there were like a finding. What we observed was that they were like left two joint hip flexor shortening. That related with the rectus femoris, which is the one of the three muscles of the hamstrings, and possibly the shortening rectus femoris, and possibly the iliopsoas muscle. Seems that they were a bit tighter from the left side. This tightness might be the problem while he was running. Sometimes he was complaining about that. This can affect his hip extension and overall movement efficiency during running. And now in the Yada's hip extension and abduction test, the findings, there weren't noticeable weaknesses of the gluteus medius and the gluteus maximus. So like while I was performing the test, I haven't noticed any noticeable weakness in the gluteus medius and the gluteus maximus. Now, related with the mobility and stability, in terms of the interpretation of mobility and stability, focus must be there must be like main focus on ankle mobility and right shoulder flexibility. Judging from the FMS test, taking from then the next thing from the hip flexor, in terms of hip flexor flexibility, the left hip flexor need to be addressed because there was like some small tightness. And next thing, there weren't any other things regarding to the Yada's hip extension and abduction test. There weren't any finding over there, so there is no interpretation about that. So taking all these findings from the athletes, we create a 4 weeks program plan. Okay, the 4 weeks program plan take into consideration the findings from the FMS and from the modified Thomas hip flexor test, and we created a 4 weeks training plan with the main goal to improve ankle and shoulder mobility, correct hip flexor tightness, enhance overall strength and control of athlete, reduce muscle tightness, and improve tissue quality and tolerance. 4 weeks, so in order to do all these goals, we create that 4 weeks corrective program overview for a 5K endurance athlete. Objective, ankle, the main objective to address ankle mobility, shoulder mobility and asymmetries, hip flexor tightness and overall stability and strength. Program components, myofascia release. This is the main components of how we started the program, the corrective program. And myofascia release was one of the main, the foam roller, so one of the main key game changer. The stretches, the static stretches, dynamic stretches, and of course mobility, stability exercises, and some isometrics and eccentric exercises. Also, they have been like part of that training. I'm sorry for that, but the button is going to close, so sorry for this one. Okay, let me put it on. Okay, we don't want the tablet will die. So, and then now, as soon as we talk about a little bit about the 4 weeks corrective plan that we generate after we see the result. Now let's talk about this weekly, this 4 weeks corrective exercise plan that we have. So the first and second week of this corrective exercise plan, we had the foundation phase. I will talk very generally about the exercise that we and the method that we utilize. So you can see it more with a little more detail in the other document, in the Word document. It's like outlined over there. You can see it, and you can with the reps and with the set and with the progressions. So here I'm just going to talk very briefly. So week 1 and 2, which was the foundation phase, we had the taking from ankle, mainly myofascial release, foam rolling for the ankle, IT band, TFL, plantar fascia, foot release with the tennis ball. Then that was the first thing that we did, and then the next thing we had the ankle dorsiflexion stretch progressions through the week, from staggered stand to step, from the staggered stand to step slant board. So progressively we take it to the step slant board. So we change a little bit the angle of the ankle. Okay, and also this one I will document it with the video as well. Then after we're talking about the ankle now, and then we had after we did the myofascial release, we did the stretch for the ankle. Then we had the mobility and stability exercises, which was which we started again with the baseline from split stand, addressing the mobility of the ankle, and then half kneeling, rocking forward and back of the ankle, and then we put a little more on a bench. We put foot on the bench, so we utilize by putting the ankle on the bench, so we can like push the knee over the top. And then like the next progression, we had the band, anchor it all the way down, and again rocking all the way forward and back. That was also part of the ankle mobility variation that we had. Now, what related with the, because we found out also like some shoulder restriction. We start again with the myofascial release, lats, mainly the T-spine, thoracic spine, extensions with the foam roller. That was part of the myofascial release. Then we had the slipper, the slipper stretch. The slipper stretch was one of them as well, in terms of the stretching. And then we had the shoulder, then we proceed to mobility exercises, the T-spine mobility exercise, which we had the open books, again with progressions from the floor, open books from the floor, open from the floor, open books here, and then doing also like the rotation as well for the shoulder. We start from the floor, and then we went down to the floor, and we start from the floor, and then we went up, and we started doing from the half kneeling. Okay, the same movement, and then we went up each week, and we did a little from split stand position, exactly the same thing. So by progressing each week, the levels. Okay. Now what I put also like some strengthening exercises as well for the shoulder. The seated dumbbell shoulder external rotation to address a little the rotator cuffs muscle to stabilize the scapula behind with by having there, by doing the control up, control slowly eccentrically down, pulled up, feeling linked all the way the rotator cuffs muscles. Okay, so that was a part of the strength routine. Now, in terms of the hip flexors, again, we had again progressions here as well, from half kneeling. We did the hip flexor dynamic stretch because the static stretch there, seeing the literature, all the new articles coming up, they are supporting the using in terms of the hip flexors tightness, not as much as the static stretch, but mostly the dynamic stretches. So we start from a half kneeling with rocking forward and back, and then again from the half kneeling we do exactly the same thing, but this time with rotation. So I'm here, I'm pushing forward the hip flexion because I'm stretching all the way here, and then I add some pull rotations, like a progression, maybe next week. Okay. Yeah, with the side. side bend, and then we add the rotation, and then definitely in order to address a little bit the rectus femoris, we put the leg a little bit up, okay, there, so we can catch a little bit the rectus femoris as well. So we feel a little bit the front side of the quads. We did that one as well. As a stretch, as a dynamic stretch. And then we progressed a little bit in terms of strengthen and lengthen exercise such as bodyweight split squat. So went to the bodyweight split squat. So let me demonstrate. There is no space here. That's okay. So I'm here. I was down. So I can, as soon as I'm going down very slowly, keep myself upright. I feel always the lengthening and at the same time strengthening. If I go with the eccentric overload all the way down over the hip flexors, with the bodyweight split squat, okay, through the week. This hasn't happened through the day, but through the week. Okay, in the week 3 and 4 progressions, we progress a little bit the volume, myofascial release 1 minute each time, muscle group passing in a circular manner. Static stretches, I had also some static stretches. You can see it in the program from 3 in terms of programming standpoint. 3 set of 30 second progression to 3 set of 50 second each week. Mobility and stability progression from 3 set with 6 reps to 3 set to 8 reps, and then 3 set to 10 reps, 3 set to 12 reps, or advancing the exercise. This from programming standpoint. Then we have the muscle contraction standpoint, isometric and eccentrics. We had ISO hold 20 second, 30 second, 40 second, 50 second, progressively increase the volume and the time under tension to eccentric overload. Eccentric mainly for the hip flexor and for the shoulder and the hip flexors to develop strength and control. Now, I'm not good at that, but it's okay. For everything express up. So in terms of concluding some concluding thoughts. So the 4 weeks corrective program was designed to address specific mobility and stability, flexibility and strength issues identified in the assessment, in the 4 assessment that we described. By incorporating myofascial release, static stretches, mobility exercises, isometric and eccentric strengthening, the program aimed to enhance overall performance and reduce the risk of re-injury of that specific athlete. Progressive adjustment ensure that the program remain challenging. This is why we progressively overload the volume, the intensity, the time under tension, the volume, the levels. We did that because we wanted to have challenging, to make the plan challenging and effective, in order to promote optimal adaptations and improvements. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much. That's it, my first attempt. Bye.